Hello everyone. Today we will be discussing about diet and nutrition in sports. The introduction to diet and nutrition. Nutrition means the process of providing or obtaining the food necessary for health and growth. In sport, it helps the athlete to stay in a tip-top condition and help them achieve the best performance. A diet is a regular course of eating and drinking adopted by a person or animal. In a healthy diet, the course of eating and drinking would consist of healthy food and drinks. And athletes need a balanced diet that is specified to their sport. Suppose and rugby player will eat differently to a gymnast. Every sports every sports person have a different diet plan according to the various sports. The recommended daily allowances. The dietary standards have been in use in the UK since 1940s. The first set of recommended daily allowances had an aim to stop nutritional deficiencies by recommending one intake target per nutrient. In 1980s, a panel was established by the government to review recommended daily allowances of all nutrients. What RDA does? RDAs can be found in all food labeling and is rough estimate for the general population. As we have seen in the food packages, they have an distribution of the amount of carbohydrates, the amount of protein, the amount of fat, the amount of minerals. We can get it onto an L label. Moving on to the self-intake. There is a term that indicates the intake of a nutrient where there is an insufficient scientific information to estimate the exact usage for the population. This represents a figure that's thought to be adequate for most people's need, but not too high to cause health problems. Why might someone go on a special diet? The main reason why someone would go on a special diet is if they want to lose weight. First point. Losing weight has been one of the main reasons for diet in this modern age. As we have seen, losing weight is also used in sport to get athletes into their best possible shape to help and improve their performances. Second point, they want to make weight or gain weight. Someone competing in a sport where weight is important will be a reason to make weight. Third point, deal with an illness. Diet is often used to deal with illness. An example would be diabetes because the amount of alcohol consumption, sugar consumption in a day can be harmful in our aging. It can lead to various diseases like diabetes, hypertension. Number four, food intolerance. Intolerance is also dealt by using diet. Moving on to the 5 benefits of an healthy diet. First, weight loss or maintaining a healthy weight. Athletes need to maintain a weight specific to their sport. A heavyweight boxer cannot lose weight as they would then need to change their weight division. Boxing is a sport where there is a category of weight where they compete. There's a different category of weight. So a heavyweight boxer cannot lose weight as they could have changed their weight division. Second point, increase in energy. Athletes need a lot of energy. How much they need depends upon what they do. Suppose a football player will need more than a ski jumper because a footballer need to run at a high pace throughout the 90 minutes, whereas a ski jumper has to perform only 2 jumps. So the diet plan is varied accordingly. The fluid intake at the same time. Number three, decrease of risk, disease risk such as diabetes or even some cancers. Most athletes will not worry about this. This is for people who have problems with weight. Number four, a decreased risk of heart disease. Athletes who do sports such as sumo wrestling will be at a higher risk of heart disease because the sumo wrestlers consume more of a fatty diet, which will lead to the gain of weight. So it can lead to such as heart failure, atherosclerosis, etc. Moving on to the next point, increased chance of prolonged life. These are the benefits of an healthy diet. Moving on, the consequences of an unhealthy diet. As we have seen earlier, the consequences of a healthy diet, now we moving on to unhealthy diet. Point number one, the first consequence is to weight loss or gain. Second, the lack of energy is another consequences of unhealthy diet. Point number three, there's an increased risk of heart disease or other illness. Suppose if an athlete suffers from any of these consequences, their performance will suffer as well. This could then lead to them being dropped from the team. If they get ill, it can lead to the team not being able to compete, but that is only if things get really bad. In a professional team, there would be someone who would make sure that the athletes eat well. Suppose the coach and the staff takes care about their diet plan according to their sports, according to their activity, according to their training. Moving on, what does a healthy diet need? A healthy diet consists of varied mixes of the nutrients. There are two various groups of nutrients, macronutrients and micronutrients. Carbohydrate, fat, protein are the group of macronutrients. Vitamins, minerals, these are the group of micronutrients. 8 guidelines for a healthy diet. First, enjoy your food. If you don't enjoy your food, it could lead to a negative emotional behavior. An athlete cannot let that happen as they must be focused on their sports. Eat a variety of different food. Eating the same food every day could feel very depressing. This is the last thing you need if you're an athlete. Eating a wider variety of food could give you a mental boost. Trying new things often do that, such as new recipes with the same ingredient or some different varieties of food. Point number three, eat the right amount to be at a healthy weight. By eating too much, you could risk carrying excess weight. An athlete cannot afford to do that because by carrying an excess weight, the performance will decrease, the stamina will decrease, and so many other things which will gonna affect their performances. Point number four, eat plenty of food rich in starch and fiber. Fiber give you a feeling of fullness, which could help in a diet, and also it regulates the digestive system. Point number fifth, eat plenty of fruit and vegetables. These contain many important nutrients that you cannot get from other foods. Point number six, don't eat a lot of food that contain a lot of fat. You could risk becoming obese and can lead to a unhealthy bulking. Point number seven, don't have a sugary food and drink too often. As we have seen, a lot of sugar can affect your recovery and can lead to diabetes as well. If you drink alcohol, you must drink sensibly. Again, diabetes is a factor which can induce by alcohol consumption. Moving on, 5 major food groups. There are 5 main food groups to maintain a healthy diet. You must eat combination of these food every day. First one is a fruit and vegetable. These are the very important nutrients in fruits and vegetables. Next one is meat, fish, alternative, which gives a good amount of protein and healthy fats. Bread and other cereals and potatoes, which regulates the glucose in our body. Milk and the dairy foods to maintain the calcium intake. Fifth, food containing fat and sugar. Next up, the macronutrients. There are 6 main nutrients that are spread into macro and micro. These nutrients provide calories and energies. Nutrients are very important for the growth. Macro means large. Macronutrients are the nutrient needed in a large amount. These are the basic requirements in our daily diet. It consists of carbohydrates, protein, and fat. Carbohydrates, these provide 4 calories per gram. Lipids, fat, these also provide 4 calories per gram. Proteins, proteins provide 9 calories per gram. Next up, carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are an energy source for the body. The body converts them into glucose. Glucose is incredibly important for the body as it provides a main source of energy. It prevents the body from using protein energy synthesis. There are three types of carbohydrates: monosaccharides, disaccharides, oligosaccharides, and polysaccharides. The monosaccharide. These represent a basic unit of carbohydrate. Over 200 monosaccharides exist in nature alone. The number of carbon atoms present determines a category. Monosaccharides are nutritionally important. The three main ones are glucose. These occur in nature. Fructose, found in fruit. Galactose forms milk and sugar. Lactose. Both fructose and galactose are broken down and converted to glucose to be used for the energy metabolism. After absorption by the small intestine, glucose can be stored as a glycogen in the muscle. They can be converted into fat, energy storage, or they can be directly used by cells for the energy. Disaccharides or oligosaccharides. Two monosaccharides molecules are combined and they form a disaccharide that is also known as double sugar. Each disaccharide contains glucose, the main component. Example, suppose sucrose is made up of glucose plus fructose, lactose is made up of glucose plus galactose, and maltose is made by two pair of glucose. Oligosaccharides are more than 2 and less than 10. Moving on to the polysaccharides. These can go from 10 to thousands of monosaccharides. They are linked by a glycosidic bond. They are classified into plant plus animal categories. Plant starch, it acts as a storage from the glucose in plants. Fiber, non-starch includes cellulose. Animal, glycogen from new 100 to 1000 of glucose molecules. Most of the glucose is stored as glycogen inside the body. Food rich with glucose. So there are various food which is rich with the glucose, which includes the glycogen level of our body, which keeps our energy metabolism running. So food which are rich with glucose are fruits, vegetables, bread type food, breakfast cereal, grain, sweet beverages, etc. Here are some calories, carbohydrates, and fiber content per 100 grams. These are the sources of carbohydrate. As here we can see, we have grains, vegetable, fruits. In grains, we have oats, brown rice, white pasta, quinoa. In vegetables, we do have white potato, sweet potato, pumpkin. In fruit, we have strawberries, green pear, red apple, banana. As we can see, they have a high calorie uptake and good amount of carbohydrate and also the dietary fibers. Recommended intake of glucose and food. For an individual who regularly exercise, the glucose intake should be around 60% of the total daily calories, up to 400 to 600 grams. Heavy training can increase to around 70% of the total daily intake. These glucose should be unrefined, food rich in fiber, vegetables, and grains. Problems. There are risks and problems associated with diet that are high in glucose. These risks include obesity and coronary heart disease. Frequent or excessive consumption of certain form of glucose could increase adult onset diabetes, as suppose type 2 diabetes. Glycemic index. There is a range of food from 0 to 100. It is based on the rate of which food raises the blood sugar level. These are the food which induce your glycemic index. Low glycemic index defined as slow rise in blood glucose level. High glycemic index implies a rapid rise. This helps to determine whether the glucose is complex or simple. Carbohydrates are of two types: simple carbs and complex carbs. Low glycemic index is 55 or less. Medium goes from 56 to 69. High is 70 and more. These figures refer to food eaten alone. The glycemic index factor could alter if other foods are consumed at the same time. Example, low glycemic examples of low glycemic index food: apples, pears, noodles, crisp, banana. The medium glycemic index food: honey, ice cream, Coca-Cola, few potatoes, closure. High glycemic index food: mashed potatoes, watermelon, bagel, jacket potato. Now moving on to why the fats are important. The fat provide us the energy. They do it more slowly than carbohydrates. It is the main source of energy when resting. Fat keeps your skin in a good condition. The fat helps insulation and keeps our bodies warm. Another importance is that it protects our vital organs. It carries fat soluble vitamins, vitamin A, D, E, K, and helps with an absorption of these. The extra fat is stored under the skin and in the adipose tissues. It is also known as triglyceride. It is an advantage for the athletes during exercise. Triglycerides are broken down into glycerol and free fatty acids. Oxygen is needed for the aerobic metabolism. These are then converted into glucose in the liver. At this point, they can be used again by skeletal muscles. The daily allowances for women is around 70 gram and for men is around 95 gram. The two types of fat, the insoluble saturated fats and unsaturated fat. Saturated fats, the bad fats, we can have, they are more readily found in animal products such as milk, cheese, meat, cream, and butter. Generally, they are found in a solid form at room temperature. Cholesterol contained, cholesterol contained in these food is very high. Unsaturated fats are the good fats. These are found in fish, plant products, almonds, nuts. Some of the example are corn, soybeans, etc. They are generally found in a liquid form at the room temperature. Cholesterol. Cholesterol occurs naturally in the body, produced by the liver, and has an important function in the regulation of cell membrane and hormone. The extra level of cholesterol comes from the saturated or animal fats that we consume. You can replace saturated fats with carbohydrates or unsaturated fats. By doing this, fatty acids can help to reduce the cholesterol. The lack of regular exercise can contribute to increased level of cholesterol. It can become a cause of heart disease due to the build of cholesterol in the arterial wall. Disease, which is atherosclerosis, in which there is an occlusion of fats, cholesterol in the arteries, which leads to blockage of the arteries, can cause an heart disease. Bad or good cholesterol. Bad cholesterol is known as the low density lipoprotein LDL. Likewise, good cholesterol is known as high density lipoprotein, that is HDL. Bad cholesterol is responsible for blocking arteries and causing other health problems. Good cholesterol carries the excess cholesterol away from the arteries. It is then taken to the liver where it is recycled by being broken down. Fat affecting performance. Fat can negatively affect your strength, speed, and the endurance. Surplus fat is surplus baggage. The more amount of fat you're going to consume, the more baggage it is going to be in our body. It can be very costly in terms of energy expenditure. Example in sport, endurance sport, surplus fat can reduce your speed, also can increase fatigue. Endurance sport will include football and rugby. What happens if we're gonna take a surplus fat? It will lead to our poor stamina, the energy uptake we can't use properly, obesity, etc. Explosive sports such as football, non-functional weight, it slows you severely down. It decreases mechanical efficiency. Muscle is useful, however, fat is not. The weight matched sport. Boxing and judo are the example of these sport. The greatest percentage of muscle and the smallest percentage of fat will have an advantage. Fat average in sport. A heavy body is able to generate more momentum to throw or knock opponents out. However, the weight should not be fat. If the weight is muscle, you will have an advantage. It will produce more power. Muscle is a stronger and more powerful. Muscle is especially more important for athletes, as in certain sport, it is a key to a better performance. Carrying excess fat will slow you down and also could affect you mentally, where your muscle will give you an important mental boost. If you have too much excess fat, it could be cause heart diseases. These are some examples of healthy fats. We have almonds, peanut butter, olives, walnuts, avocado, cheddar cheese, olive oil, pumpkin, etc. Here coming up to the main macronutrients, that is protein. Protein are needed to build plus maintain all of the cells in the body. Also helps in the repairment and the recovery of an athlete. This is the only nutrient that does it. It increases the strength of the muscle fibers. Protein repairs damaged tissue that result from sprain, bruising, etc. They are used for the manufacturing of enzymes that are required for the metabolic functioning. Another use of protein is for energy. It is an energy source when the body has run out of carbohydrates and fat. The body consumes primarily energy from carbohydrates, then at resting from the fats, then at last from the protein. What are the problems with protein? A number of dangerous diseases are associated with the amount of protein in our diet. These include heart disease, kidney damage, constipation, arthritis. Amino acids. They are the building blocks of protein. The body requires 20 different amino acids, of which 8 are essential. As 8 essential amino acids cannot be produced by the body, they must be obtained through other sources such as consuming food. Sources of protein that come from animal are generally a better source of protein as they have high amount of essential amino acid. The mass in muscle does not increase simply by eating high amount of protein. Eating excessive amount of protein can be very harmful to the kidneys and liver. The recommended daily intake is 50% of total kilocalorie or about 85 gram for the men, 62 gram for the women. An ideal protein intake for an average individual who do not do any exercises is 1 into the body weight. And for the athlete, it is 1.2 gram of their body weight. And for the bodybuilders and weightlifters, it is 2 into their body weight. Here are the examples of plant-based protein and the animal-based protein. Here we can see plant-based proteins have chickpeas, oats, brown rice, lentils, legumes, avocados. These are not the proper source of protein. They also have carbohydrates and good fats in them. The animal-based protein are the most lenient form of protein. They have here we have eggs, turkey, chicken breast, meat, soy milk, cheese, yogurt, etc. Example of protein and food per 100 gram of the food. Peanuts, these are the examples. And some of these won't contain amino acid. For an example, peanuts. Peanuts usually don't have the amino acids. Moving on to the micronutrients. Unlike macronutrients, these are the essential only in small amount. They are essential for good health, and lack of them can cause very serious health problems. Micronutrients are sometimes referred to as vitamins and minerals. This is because they include things like sodium, copper, and zinc, plus vitamins such as A, D, E, K, and C. You can find these in foods such as red meat, whole wheat bread, peas, fruit, vegetables, and potatoes. Vitamins. Vitamins, it is an important for chemical reactions. which takes place inside the body. An example is extracting energy from the carbohydrates. Another importance is for bone building and blood clotting. These can be either fat soluble, ADE, or the water soluble, PNC. If they are water soluble, it will mean that a large proportion of them are excreted, which means they have to be replaced each and every day. You must also be very careful about the preparation technique, as lots of vitamin can be lost through cooking. So the minimal will be the cooking, the maximum the micronutrients is gonna be. Here are we discussing the vitamin-rich food and vitamin A. The benefits are keeping tissue skin healthy, promotes bone growth, act as an antioxidant. The main sources are beef, liver, eggs, shrimp, sweet potatoes, carrot, spinach. Vitamin B1, it benefits is convert food into the energy. The sources are soy milk, watermelon, ham. Vitamin B2, again, sources are milk, cheese, and grains. Vitamin B3, the main sources are meat, poultry, potatoes, peanuts, fish. Vitamin B5, uh, the main sources are mushroom, chicken, avocados, tomato, broccoli. Vitamin B6, the benefits are lowers the homocysteine level, lowers the risk of heart disease, helps making in the red blood cells that improves cognitive abilities and immune function. Sources are meat, fish, tofu, legumes, and potatoes. Vitamin B12 is the most important and the most vital vitamins for our body. Its benefits are precise by lower homocysteine level, lowers the risk of heart disease, assists in making new cells, break down fatty and amino acid, protective nerve cells and encourages normal growth, helps to make red blood cells that improves cognitive ability and immune function. Sources are meat, fish, milk, poultry, cheese, etc. These are usually found in meat and seafood. Biotin gains promote healthy bones and hair, converts food into energy. Main sources are egg yolks, whole grains. Vitamin C acts as an antioxidant, promoting strong immune system, protects against cataract. The main sources are bell peppers, vitamin C, citrus fruit, strawberries, spinach, juices, etc. Choline helps metabolize transport fats, helps make and release acetylcholine, which promotes activity in the nerves and brain. Main sources are milk, eggs, and peanuts. Vitamin D, it helps to maintain now normal blood level and calcium and phosphate level. Sources, milk, dairy products. Vitamin E, it acts as an antioxidant and protect vitamin A and certain lipids from damage. Sources are whole grains, leafy greens, nuts. If we have folic acid, the sources are asparagus, turnip. It also has some benefits as it plays a vital role in new cell creation, lowers homocysteine level. Vitamin K, the benefits are activates protein and calcium essential to blood clotting. Sources are cabbage, kale, spinach, broccoli, sprouts, all the green leafy vegetables. Minerals. Minerals are the dissolved in water. They are sometimes referred to as electrolyte. These are very important for extracting the energy from foods. They have to be replaced after we get rid of them. For maintaining high amount of vitamins and minerals in your diet, it is important to ensure that the fruit and vegetables are as fresh as possible. Fiber. Micronutrient. A new scientific name of fiber is non-starch polysaccharides. It resists digestion by stomach and the small intestine. This provides bulk and aids transition of foods through the digestive system. It helps in preventing certain diseases, including colon cancer, heart disease, diabetes, and irritable bowel syndrome. It is found in foods such as whole grain bread, cereals, nuts, pulses, fruit, and vegetables. A high intake of fiber plus a high fluid intake helps to keep bowel functioning efficiency. It can help in weight control as fiber can create a feeling of fullness. It is and very important micronutrients for the people who have gained a lot of weight and who want to reduce weight. The amount of dietary fibers are necessary in the body. Next up, there are two types of fiber, soluble fibers and insoluble fibers. Insoluble fibers, we have example of these could be oats, barley, peas, pea, fruit, and vegetable. Its importance includes controlling the blood glucose and cholesterol. On an average, adult needs around 15 grams of fiber a day. Insoluble fibers, examples are whole grain bread, rice, pasta, cereals, and vegetables. It is an importance is to prevent any bowel disorder. Now, moving on to the hydration in sports, a major aspect 55 to 65% of the water body is made up of water. Water plays and has always played a key role in the maintenance and creation of life. It is an integral part of all of the body cells and the body fluids. It is therefore vital in transporting the nutrients and oxygen around the body and getting rid of the waste matter by the urine. Sweating is a process which enables the body to control and regulate the body temperature. It is important when digestion and other chemical reactions are happening. It also needed to maintain the right blood volume and blood pressure. It also aids for the respiration. So, how much amount of fluid is needed? Fluid comes from what is drunk, eaten, and metabolism of the nutrient. It is generally agreed that healthy adults need around 2 to 3 liters of fluid per day. They will require more during exercise or a hot, humid weather, with so many functions being independent on the water. It is vital that hydration is maintained. The human body doesn't store water like it does with carbohydrates or fats, so regular intake is incredibly important. How the water is lost? The body has to maintain a suitable temperature during exercise. Suppose heat loss through sweat on skin is responsible for this. However, large amount of sweat loss can cause electrolytes imbalance or electrolytes loss, which has a detrimental effect on the energy production. Can also lead to dehydration. The reason for this respiration and the elimination of urine and feces. The loss can increase considerably in some extreme situations such as vomiting, diarrhea, fever, plus intensive exercise. The example of water in food, banana, crisp, peanuts, peanuts, lettuce, cheese, potatoes, and tomatoes. Lack of water. The body cannot survive a lot of days without it. This isn't a good indicator of dehydration. This is because it felt sometime after the body has started to become dehydrated. It is therefore very important to keep replacing fluids every day. The progress of dehydration, intense thirst, fatigue and emotional behavior, headache and tingling in arm and legs, increase in body temperature, pulse, and the rate of breathing, mental confusion and weakness, decreased blood volume and circulation, or can lead to death. Its effect on sports performance. How does hydration affect the sports performance? Dehydration has an incredibly negative effect on sporting performances. You will lose focus and concentration. Dizziness can also become an issue. Fatigue will make you weak and unable to perform at a high level. You need to make sure that you replace the fluid in your body to maintain a good level of performance. That means you have to maintain hydration so that you can perform to the highest level. A good example is when a football game goes all the way to penalties, players need to rehydrate themselves. Otherwise, during the penalties, they will lose the focus, they'll lose the concentration, which will cause them to miss the shot. Moving on to the sports drink. These are specially formulated carbohydrates and electrolyte drinks that are designed not only to rehydrate but also gives a boost of carbohydrate glucose energy to the working muscles. Together, this helps to maximize the performance level and endurance. There are three main types of sports drinks available. These are isotonic, hypotonic, and hypertonic. Isotonic this contains almost the same concentration of glucose, 4 to 8 grams per 100 gram, to water as the blood. This is the reason why isotonic drinks quickly replace the fluid that are lost through sweat and supply a useful boost of carbohydrate or glucose based energy to the working muscles. An example of an athlete who would drink an isotonic drink would be a rugby or football player. They will need a boost of energy as much as they would need to rehydrate. Hypotonic. This provides fluid but only a very low level of glucose. It is ideal for athletes who want to replace their fluid but don't want any extra calories. An example of an athlete who would drink this is a jogger. They will not want any extra calories, but they will want to rehydrate. Moving on to hypertonic. For most, they are not suitable for consumption during an event. It is used to supplement carbohydrate intake after an exercise session or any sporting event to help top up the glycogen stores and aid recovery. After an activity, after an sports competition, a player need to rehydrate immediately to maintain the glycemic index or glycogen level so that it can consume the energy from it. It quickly replaces the lost fluid. It is most suitable for athletes who want to rehydrate without the glucose boost. The differences, the three type of drinks suit different athletes. Some will need an extra boost and some will not. It all depends on the sport that the athlete competes in. If someone competes in sport where they cannot afford to carry excess weight, they will choose to drink hypotonic drink. If they do a sport where energy is needed, such as football, they will choose to drink isotonic drink as it rehydrates immediately. It all depends on the sport. Various different sports require different energy drinks, different hydration method according to that. Three drinks have a similarity, which is that all they all rehydrate the athlete. So, as we have seen, a healthy diet and hydration is very important to enhance the performance, the stamina, to give a good output in our game. Water or sports drink. If an athlete decides to drink plain water and doesn't consume any salt for 2 hours, after any sort of exercise, a significant proportion, 25 to 50% of what they drink will be excreted as urine. When the athlete rehydrates with a sports drink that contains sodium and potassium, then 65 to 80% of fluid is replaced by the water. That means the athlete rehydrates with a sports drink which contains of sodium and potassium, 65 to 85% fluid is replaced. So that's all for the diet and nutrition. Thank you.